Good morning and welcome to the Forensics Detailing channel. We're going to try and do a single take video with no editing to show you how to install a ceramic coating on your alloy wheels. What are we using, guys? We're going to be using Gyeon Rim, which is a nice, easy to apply, hydrophobic ceramic coating. Now, before we get started, the most important thing is to be organised and to make sure your alloys are cleaned, decontaminated, maybe even polished if they've got a gloss finish and you're not happy, like there's some hazing and swirling, but that's quite extreme. But really you want a good finish, and my wheels have just been refurbished, which is the ideal time to ceramic coat them to really protect that fresh painted finish. I've got a satin finish on the front and a gloss finish in the barrel and the lip. Now the first thing I'm going to do is, I have got some grease on these from where the tyres were put on. There's some little patches of grease and dirt. So I'm just going to wipe, most of the alloy surface is clean from where it's been painted, but I'm just going to wipe it with Gyeon Prep, which is their panel wipe that you use to prepare the surface before putting on their ceramic coatings. Okay, that's just going to make sure we're degreased. And I can see if I wipe on these little bits of grease and rubber without, you know, a panel wipe, it's just a little bit harder to get it off there. So obviously you don't want to apply a ceramic coating as well on top of any grease. So that's the main thing. We'll just, that's better. It's just got a real stubborn bit right there. Okay. Okay, right. And let's get this section here, because obviously when the tyres changed as well, you can get a bit of grease around where the tyre seals with that outside edge. So it's just going to ensure that we've got a fully cleaned, prepped surface. Okay, now let's spin that round. And we'll do the same with the barrel. Now, I don't have one of the one of the barrel machines you can use, you know, to plop these in so that the alloys don't move when you're applying this. So what I do is I apply it and then I make sure I've got a bit of width so I can roll the alloy that way so that I get full coverage. I've even made sure I've got painted, coated wheel weights in here rather than those cheap zinc wheel weights which just corrode. So we should hopefully, when we come back and do this again in, you know, 2 or 3 years time or whatever, our wheel weights are still good and not all rusty. So there's our barrel. Spin that round one more time. I just want to make sure that that face is absolutely spotless. Some of this rubber, you could use their tar and glue remover as well if you've got any bits of like rubber that have etched on as the tyre's kind of been stretched over this, just to make sure. But this is doing the job. It's just a bit, it's not strong as a tar and glue, it's more for a final kind of degrease. And make sure, double check the bits you can't see. Okay, I think that's probably going to be enough. Make sure it's dry as well. So because we sprayed that on there, there's some in those little wheel nut holes. Make sure all of that's dry. So we have a prepped alloy wheel. You can see I've got gloves on because that's just going to mean I don't get any ceramic coating on my kind of skin and all that sort of stuff. We give the bottle a good shake. And what I'll probably do is the barrel first. Okay, just keep that there, stops it rolling. I'm going to put a good amount on this applicator when I'm doing the barrel, just so I can probably do 2 scoops. Put the lid on to stop that vaping out. And then I'll just do half of this alloy before I relocate. So I'm up to that wheel weight there, so I've just set myself a little marker. And then we'll do the outside. Might as well go all the way up to that wheel weight actually. And that's it. And what we can do, I could roll this, but I just don't know what the camera position is going to look like, so I'll just spin the alloy round. Then we'll go, oh, excuse me, underneath that wheel weight. Sorry, okay, bit more coating. This really, it's like the cherry on top, or the icing on the cake. Is it worth putting waxes and stuff on your wheels? Well, it might be of benefit, but to take all the wheels off and, you know, clean them, as we said before, is a lot of work. So I think you want to use the strongest form of protection that you can get for the alloy wheel, which is a pretty hostile environment. Spends its life having brake dust fired at it all the time, and waxes and sealants are probably not going to withstand the temperature and the conditions of a barrel, as well as a ceramic coating. The ceramic coating is simply a more modern, specialised resin, which is going to go harder and last longer and offer you a bit more dirt repellency and a bit more dirt peel. So that makes them ideal really for alloy wheels. Yeah, and kind of brake calipers and all that sort of stuff. Funny enough, the real dirty parts of your car benefit the most from being kind of protected, which is kind of makes sense actually, doesn't it? So let's just make sure we got that, and I like to coat the backs of the alloys as well. So everywhere in this alloy wheel now is done. So I'm just going to take a microfiber cloth and just gently level the coating. When you put this coating on, it won't be, you know, there could be high spots and stuff that you can't really see, so the more light you've got, the better. But just by rubbing over it gently, did I go over, I'm not sure if I went over the outside of this, so if I did it twice, it doesn't matter, but I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. But this is just removing any excess, removing any high spots, so that we've got a flat layer of coating that's going to harden off, and it's going to look good. Right, and I'd say that is the barrel done. So now we've got to do the face. Obviously the face is a little bit more intricate. You can remove the suede if you really have, you know, tighter areas to get into. Take the suede applicator off of the block. You get 4 of these suede cloths, one for each alloy wheel. So we need to be methodical. So where is our valve? Let's start our valve and we'll do the face first, and we'll do the same process, and we'll just work our way around. If we're methodical, at least that we know we haven't missed any bits, you know, of what we're trying to cover. So we're really just doing the flat kind of face of what's showing on the alloy, and then we'll go in and do the bits that, you know, between each spoke. And just take your time. You've got a better view of what I'm missing than I have. So that should be all the face done. Let's get the lip. Okay, now we'll try and get all of the intricate areas. So I'll only load up half the applicator there, because I'm going to be going kind of in and out. I think the key with any detailing job, isn't it, is time and organisation. The challenge, I think, for doing an alloy wheel would be, this is one job that you've got to do during the process of doing an entire car. You're going to be going flat out when you're doing an entire car. And it's, will you have the time to do what I'm doing now when you're doing an entire car? And that is to do with like organisation. I think it'd be really difficult because there's a lot to do potentially, isn't there, on a tyre car. So I personally get the luxury of being able to do this job kind of separately, you know, the alloy wheel job separately, so I can just focus on making sure that every single alloy gets ceramic coated on every single bit, or 99% of it. And then that way I'm not wasting my time. You know, if you're rushing, you're going to be missing bits, and you know, so I just want to do this properly. I've got to get to this stage we're at now. If you've been watching some of my other videos, has been really tough because you know, these split rims, the bolts corrode in them, the threads tear up. You know, you have to helicoil them, you have to drill out the titanium nuts, get replacement nuts. You have to, I had to get this painted, and getting this gold colour wasn't easy, and they had to redo it because it was problematic. So a lot of work's gone into getting it to this stage. I had the tyres fitted yesterday, and the tyre place probably think I'm a paranoid lunatic because I was I was saying to them, please, you know, don't damage it, please, because so much work goes into getting to this stage, and it just takes one of those stages to fall down, and you've got to go back to the start and go again, which is, I guess, is what detailing is. It's that kind of pursuit of kind of excellence, isn't it? And that pursuit of excellence is, for a lot of people, it's too much work. But if you love cars, this work should also be enjoyable. You know, you should really enjoy this, especially when it's all done and it goes on, you know, this wheel goes on the car and it's all done, and you can just sort of, for that evening, you can sit back, look at your car and think, yeah, I've done it properly. It's protected the best way possible, and I've done a good job. And then that's a really, really, really nice feeling, I think, for me. And hopefully, you know, I'm not going to do anything wrong. But what's the worst thing that I could do when doing this? The worst thing is I could scratch the alloy, putting it back on the car. I could drop it on the brake discs, you know, or the heat shields when you're fitting it. So the worst thing typically with doing work on cars is not what goes wrong with the products. It's what goes wrong physically when you're around the car. So that is applied. How long should you leave this? Well, within an hour, this will be dry to quite a high level. But obviously these ceramic coatings can take up to 7 days to fully cure. But I'll leave this off of the car all day and put it on in the afternoon. So it's had many hours to get to a sort of like 97% cure or 99% cure. It will then go on the car, and I won't touch it for a week. And then in a week's time, I'll try and wash it with mild chemicals. How would you maintain this going forward? Well, it's quite simple actually, guys. Let me just pick the camera up. I would wash the car with Gyeon, you know, bathe as you do normally. If you want to wash the alloy wheel, you can use the Gyeon. You could wash the alloy wheel with a Gyeon APC, but every now and then to decontaminate the wheel because of the brake dust, if you go in with the wheel iron remover, you'll get the purple reaction and you'll bleed out some of the embedded fallout. I use the Gyeon Tyre Express to dress my tyres because I like the fact that it goes on nicely wet. So if you've got any water around after the wash process, you can put the Tyre Express on. And I always feel that tyres look best with a fresh dress look. So I go for the Express one because it's quick and easy over the Gyeon Tyre, which is their sort of ceramic tyre dressing, which is a bit more involved, you know, more durability, but I go with the Express. And then in terms of maintaining the zip, the zing, this coating is going to get contamination falling on it and stuff like that. The hydrophobic effect that you see, so this will bead like crazy, you know, at first. That hydrophobic effect will diminish as the coating kind of gets covered with other debris, and you can help that by regular cleaning. But after you've cleaned it and the alloy's all wet, you can spritz on a little bit of wet coat over the face and into the barrel and just blast it straight off and then dry off your alloy. And you can maintain that hydrophobic performance. And the good thing about using wet coat is there's loads of products like this on the market that you can spray on and rinse off. But wet coat has self-cleaning. They've taken away their little stars. They used to have little star ratings. And wet coat, they were very honest about like saying it's not durability, didn't get like 5-star or whatever. It was like 2-star or whatever they rated it. It's not, you know, their coatings are meant to be durable. This is meant to be a maintenance product. But this product has some self-cleaning, so it should complement the coating. So yeah, wet coat on top of rim and you'll maintain the hydrophobic effect. Now all I've got to do, guys, is the same, maintain the same level of concentration and work my way through and do all 4 alloys. It's not difficult when they're all sitting here nice and ready to go. I think it's the old saying, isn't it? The key is in the prep. So if you've got an alloy that's worth coating, that's not all curbed and it's in good condition, but it's heavily contaminated, then take the time to decontaminate that alloy, clay it if necessary, get the finish like you'd want it so that you're coating on top of a bare prepped surface rather than dirty contamination. Sometimes with alloy wheels, cleaning them isn't just a case of using fallout remover. You might find there's bitumen and tar spots in there, so sometimes the tar and glue that Gyeon have got could be beneficial if you see little tar spots. But yeah, there we go, guys. So just take the time to go back over after you've applied it, get a torch, shine it on there and just make sure you don't have any high spots. But generally, I'm already happy with that kind of finish. We haven't over applied it, so we put a thin layer of film there. That ceramic film starts to bond in seconds, and when you wipe it, you're really just removing the excess. So it's very easy. So there we go. That's how you ceramic coat your alloy wheels. In this video, we are using Gyeon Rim, which is a fantastic coating. And I personally want the hydrophobicity, which is one of the reasons I like the Gyeon coatings as well. They're all pretty hydrophobic. I'll put that on the caliper as well, which will need a deep clean. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, and all the products that we've used in this video I will link in the description. Bye for now.